Rocky Balboa, a small-time boxer from working-class Philadelphia, is arbitrarily chosen to take on the reigning world heavyweight champion, Apollo Creed, after a scheduled opponent is injured. While training with feisty former contender Mickey Goldmill, Rocky tentatively begins a relationship with Adrian, the wallflower sister of his meatpacker pal, Paulie. Now as the big fight approaches, Rocky must use this opportunity to shine and show the world who the Italian stallion really is. Welcome to another feature presentation of Midnight Double Feature, and on this episode we'll be covering 1976's Rocky, directed by John G. Avildsen. Hello, boys and girls. Welcome back to Midnight Double Feature. As you heard the intro, covering 1976's Rocky, our first entry into the franchise, the Apollo Creed to my Rocky Balboa, because you know why. Zoheb Ali, how you doing, buddy?
Bum 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 bum.
Pew. I love that 70s pew shit they throw on everything. Right. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, dude. I'm good. Thank you so much for calling me Apollo Creed, because I have everyone says I look like Carl Weathers because I'm so chiseled and tough, and
my face.
You know, I'm constantly wearing the US flag everywhere I go.
For a second there, I was like in the face, maybe a little. You got the squinty eyes, you know. It's like
1-2 guys at the most.
Yeah. Well, it's either that or Mr. T. It's like the only two black guys within a mile of this fucking series. Guys,
and Michael B. Jordan.
Everyone says Michael B. Jordan. I consider that like, it's like a spinoff. You know, it's a little bit more modern. I guess there's Mason Dixon in Rocky Balboa. I forgot about that. Guys, thanks for joining us. If this is your first time listening to the show, we are going to spoil this movie from fucking 45 years ago. There is an E on this motherfucker for
45 this year.
Yeah, 45 this year. I thought it was a perfect pick. It takes place around Thanksgiving. We just, we're right in the middle of the holidays. It's like, sounds good. Sounds like a good time to dip our toes into it. And we're to start better than the original. You can't start it like fucking. I thought, I was like, man, I like 2. I love 4. I was like, nah, you got to start at the OG, man. But guys, if this is your first time checking us out, you can find all of our socials in the show notes. Really, you can find everything at midnightdoublefeature.com. And also check out our Patreon. That's patreon.com/midnightdoublefeature. That's going to be $5 a month. It's going to be called the Green Room. Everybody's, paying the same price. There's only one tier. You get 2 extra episodes a month. And again, that's patreon.com/midnightdoublefeature. And if you sign up there, I believe they get 25% off on merch as well. If you go to midnightdoublefeature.com, sign up, $5 a month, you get fucking $25 off merch right there. So, or 25% off merch. So, check all that stuff out. Rate and review us on iTunes. That helps out the show so much. It's free. You don't have to sign up for Patreon. There's no merch, nothing like that. It takes 5 minutes. It would greatly, greatly benefit the show. So I consider a personal favor. And to anybody who does that, kudos, hats off to you. I consider that a personal favor. Thank you for doing that. And if you haven't done it, consider it. It helps out a lot. But with all that out of the way, oh, God, I hate doing that shit. I feel like an auctioneer. Like, let me check off all these. 7 out of 45 and 20.
It's going to be done. What else do I pay you for? Jesus.
I know. So, Rocky, this was my pick. Anybody who's listened to the show probably knows I was a huge Sylvester Stallone fan growing up. My AOL screen name was Stallone Clone 123 for the longest time. I idolized this man. Idolized. I love.
You said that on the podcast before. I remember losing my mind at that too.
And I was like the guy, and my friend Danny will attest to this. I was like, dude, you guys have to watch First Blood. You guys have to watch Lockup. You got to watch Cliffhanger. Like a lot of great movies that kind of got like lost in his like shitty repertoire. But I think most people, if you haven't listened to the show before, I'm a huge Stallone fan. I love this movie. It was my pick, but I've never really heard your thoughts on Rocky. I know you like Creed. I think we've talked about those before, but not the Rocky franchise as a whole from 76 to 90. 5 movies in fucking 15. I mean, which is quaint now. Marvel would have like fucking five movies out in 18 months or something.
Dude, three this year.
Jesus Christ. So what's your experience with these, and we've also got a poll. We'll tackle that at the end, which Rocky is the favorite of all of our after party members. So what was your history with this? Like, I mean, what's your favorite in the franchise? Give me your background.
Yeah, awesome. So yeah, just quickly, we have talked about Creed very briefly, but we haven't covered it. and I've come very close to choosing the first Creed. Like honestly, like I'm pretty sure I've put it in our chat, and I'm like, hey, yeah, next week we're talking about Creed, and something else came up, and I was like, damn. But like that first Creed, the one directed by Ryan Coogler, is like in my opinion on par with this movie. Like it is absolutely astounding. It's such a fucking good movie. And the story is it's incredible. Like, you know, it's not what you think it is. And Michael B. Jordan is absolutely amazing as Adonis Creed. But also Sylvester Stallone is as good as he is Rocky in that movie. You know what I mean?
Really?
So, yeah, dude, like he got nominated for an Oscar for it and everything. Like he's fucking great in that movie. So, huge, like highly, because he's playing like the legacy thing in that movie. Right. So he's like, oh man, I'm old and grizzled, and you know I can't do this no more. And you know at that point, things have happened to Adrian and
I remember that from Rocky Balboa.
Paulie.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like it's amazing how we see this character Rocky kind of go from, you know, different stages in his life. And like that's kind of what I love about this franchise. Like we see him literally go from this leg breaker for Gazzo, right? Tony Gazzo or Gazzo.
Gazzo.
And then you see his like marriage and kind of like him becoming like a bit more of a the power has got to him. You know, the fame and fortune has got to him, and he lets it overtake him, and like that's the whole thing of like scary movie, fucking Rocky IV. So he has to bring himself back down to earth, and then you know he becomes this legacy character in Creed, and like you know he's got all this information and knowledge to impart on Creed, and it's I love this franchise. If you haven't noticed, I adore this franchise from start to finish. I am going to admit that I came to it very late. So I watched Rocky, this first movie, in preparation of Creed, the first one. So I would have watched this in 2015 for the first time ever. And the reason for that is because I think Rocky is just one of those movies where it's like Jaws. You know, everyone knows what happens in Jaws, even if you haven't seen Jaws. You know what I mean? Like it's this,
right.
It's a story about like an island, and you know there's a fucking shark killing people, so we got to go kill the shark, and the shark dies at the end. For the longest time, I assumed that Rocky was just this guy who fights Apollo Creed and wins, and obviously I was wrong in that, right? Because he doesn't win,
right?
Like it's just, and I guarantee you, almost 100% of the audience who have not seen this movie. But say they know about it, they know what happens, they will assume that Rocky wins in the end,
right?
Because I think like that's just the formula for these movies, and I think this first one really does a great job in bucking that expectation. Like really kind of like throwing that out the window and being like, hey man, this isn't really about Rocky Balboa winning the fight against Apollo Creed. It's about him coming up, making himself a better man, making himself a better person, and creating this relationship with fucking Adrian, it's just about bettering yourself and your relationships. And honestly, I think this movie is like the charm for me is that it feels really, really genuine. It doesn't feel like it's trying to pull one over on the audience or anything like that. It just feels really genuine. Like all the performances feel very natural. Like especially, dude, I'm fucking up because Wikipedia has Sylvester Stallone as Robert Rocky Balboa. So I'm about to say Robert. Like, fuck off, dude.
Yeah.
Especially Rocky and especially Adrian. Talia Shire is my favorite performance in this movie. I love Adrian in this movie, and I think obviously this movie doesn't work if the Adrian Rocky relationship doesn't work. And I did put something in the after party. 45 years later, it's Rocky pushes really hard.
Oh,
to try and
dude,
get
very
Adrian,
hard.
dude, like really hard.
Yeah,
but I guess it was okay back then. I don't know.
I mean, he literally closes a door and like puts her in a corner with his arms
His
up.
fucking massive like cow leg of a hand on the fucking door, and
I felt like it was going to be like a Scooby-Doo episode where they trap Rocky and pull his mask off, and it's like Jeffrey Epstein underneath. It's like, it's old man Epstein.
Fucking Ghislaine Maxwell's in the fucking bathroom or some shit.
Yeah. She's Polly.
But I think there's something about Adrian's, Talia Shire's performance as Adrian. It's the sweet shyness. You know what I mean? It's like it's her little reactions to things, and I can't, like the first time you see her working in the store, and then Rocky says bye, and then she's like, bye, Rocky, and I'm just like, man, like that is so fucking sweet. Like I don't know, there's something about her.
Yeah.
And she's awesome, dude. I love her. I fucking hate Paulie in all of these movies.
Oh yeah,
hate him with a passion. He is the Dewey of the Rocky franchise.
I don't think he's that. I mean, I think he's supposed to, on paper, he's supposed to be pretty bad. Like, I don't think you're really supposed to enjoy Paulie. But like, right, Dewey was like, that was heinous.
Yeah, man. I think it's an outstanding movie. And if you weren't going to pick it, I definitely was eventually. And I will never put on this movie and be like, oh fuck, I gotta watch this. It's a fucking chore to watch this thing. Absolutely not. I'm gonna take one of our listeners to task right now. Patrick Harrington, where the fuck are you, man? You said fucking Rocky was boring? How? How is this boring? Get fucked, man. No, it is not boring. You can fuck yourself.
I can see why
I'll see you fucking later.
I can
take me to task. No, I don't want to hear it. You can't see shit. You can't see the forest for the trees, my friend.
This is not a perfect movie. There's a little fat that can be trimmed off of this movie. A little bit. I'm not saying that like go in there and fucking turn this into a totally different movie and like cut it up and stuff, because you lose a lot of those character moments. You sacrifice
like
character moments.
Rocky 4.
Yeah, dude. I really want to see that.
Same. Yeah.
But
it's great, like really, really good.
Yeah. Was that the end of your opening? I don't want to like take over here. If you're okay, cool. Mm-hmm. No, I think that it's fair. I can see why somebody would think that this is boring, but at the same time, I feel like if you cut a lot of that stuff out, you miss a lot of like those character moments. And there's parts of this that do get repetitive and redundant. It's like, dude, how many people call him a goddamn bum in this? And I think now, and like modern sensibilities, like movies are so scaled down, like they're a lot more dense than they were in the 70s. 70s movies, I feel like just kind of meandered a lot. Like The Exorcist is like that. Like I love a lot of 70s movies that I see, but you can definitely tell that they were taking their time with stuff. And I think that, but I think they do it in a good way in this, that apparently there's a lot of shit that they left on the cutting room floor in terms of just like, but the thing is, I think that the way that the series changed later on, it was like Rocky 4 is 90 minutes long. Let me check that real quick. But Rocky
it's
4,
really brisk.
Yeah, Rocky 4 is not very long. And I think that I think that it's like 32 minutes of montages. And it's like, dude, like a third of that movie is a montage. And it's like, Jesus Christ.
Rocky 4 is an hour and a half.
Yeah. So 30% of that movie, around it could be like 23 or 32 minutes. I can't remember. But about a third of that movie is montages. And that really gets like, you don't really see that until like Rocky 2, I guess. That's when like Rocky 2, the montage really kicked in. And they do have it in this, but I don't know. I can see why like somebody would have issues with it, because it's the outlier in the first 5, or I guess you could say the first 6. Like this movie is very different from 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Very different. Like I feel like those were movies and this is a film, like this is one that's like, I feel like what the Rocky movies evolved into, it was kind of like what Marvel's doing. It's kind of like the event, there's going to be a big fight at the end. They're probably going to win. There's going to be some kind of like moment where everything goes down. But this movie, getting more into the movie itself now, doesn't really even have an antagonist. Like, Apollo Creed's not that bad of a guy. He's actually giving him a helping hand by being like, hey, I'm giving you an opportunity to do this.
Rocky's his own antagonist.
Right.
I think.
It's all the conflict is man versus society, man versus self kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But I love that. But Stallone said specifically, the idea of unrealized dreams was the thing that kept bringing him back to this and kept bringing him back to like people that just never filled the thing that they wanted to do. And it was a fight with Chuck Wepner and Muhammad Ali, and Chuck Wepner was just like just stumble bum, and I think he was called like the bleeding bandolier or something. Like this guy would bleed like crazy, but out of nowhere he just fucking laid Ali on his ass and he went the distance with him. And he went home, pounded a script out in like 3 days. Like it's an incredible story. I don't want to get into all of it here, but it's like, Stallone was like living in his car and like had $27 and sold his dog. They offered him like up to $350,000 for the script. And he's like, no, not unless I can act in it. It's like, holy shit. Like that's an incredible story.
Well, Wepner, Stallone said that Wepner, he didn't have any inspiration for the script. Like he was not a part of the inspiration. And apparently Wepner ended up suing Stallone.
I don't know. See, because I literally watched I think it was the 25th anniversary of Rocky, and it's Stallone talking about being at the Wepner fight. So I'm like, how can you deny? I literally, now it's him a lot younger. Yeah. I think it was in like 2000 or 2001, like the 25th anniversary. But it's like, dude, you're sitting there talking about seeing the Chuck Wepner fight. And I was like, how the fuck? Because I saw that Wepner sued him for something. But I don't know if they settled out of court or what. But the interesting thing about Stallone is like all the people that they wanted for this, they wanted like James Caan, Robert Redford, like they wanted like 70s
Burt
actors.
Reynolds is my favorite, dude. I would have liked to see Burt Reynolds, man. That's fucking Rocky Balboa.
I think James Caan is Rocky Balboa. I'd love that, dude.
Especially during this era, dude. Like he was. Like bringing that Godfather energy, that fucking aggressive.
If you can keep that in the ring, when he beats the shit out of Spider Rico in this first scene, that's Jimmy Caan all day. I can see that. I really do enjoy this movie. It's not my favorite in the series, but man, it's this is my favorite in the series. What is your favorite in the series? Sorry, the second one probably. I like
really? Okay.
Yeah, and a lot of people I think either skew. Like 3 or 4, 5 is usually like the bastard. Rocky Balboa is very good. I haven't seen it in a long time.
Balboa's good. I like Balboa.
Very, very good movie. There's something about Rocky.
You need to watch Creed, man. I can't.
I think I've seen the first Creed. I didn't see the second one though. That sounds ludicrous. Where it's like Drago's kid and stuff. I was like,
second one's a little, it's a little meh. But the way it's made alone. That for Creed, like there's a fight and it's all done in one take.
Oh shit.
And it's
that's cool.
Gorgeous, dude. Yeah.
But the second one is probably my favorite. It's written and directed and starring Stallone. But literally it takes up right at the end of the first one, and you get that awesome like ba da da ba da 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 boo ba da da da. It's like holy shit, this is really cool. It's got one of my favorite lines in the whole series.
How does that one end? Oh, sorry, Colin.
That's the one where they both fall down and he gets up like a second. He has like a second left in Apollo.
The last shot is because
Adrian,
it's the third one.
That's the one where he's got the belt
that's
up.
right. Yeah,
and then it's like
the third one where they behind closed doors.
Yeah, I think so. That's where he and Apollo punch each other is at the end of the third one.
Yeah, I love that ending. Yeah.
Second one has one of my favorite lines where they're in the hospital and he was like, where's Stallion at? Stallion, you got a gold skull. You were the luckiest man alive. And it cuts to Stallone and his face is like hamburger meat. And he's like, do I look lucky? It's like, dude, no. It's that one. And they're like, Rocky, what did you think going into the last rounds of the fight? He's like, I don't know, that I should have stayed in school or something.
Like, well, I mean, like that's another thing. That's another thing I love about his character is like he's definitely a can't get right. Like he is definitely on the fucking spectrum somewhere, you know?
Yeah, this is definitely you had the umbilical cord around your neck for a minute in there, you know?
Right. Like not only is it uneducated, but there's also some kind of developmental thing.
Yeah, he's illiterate
as well.
Like he can't read in the second one. Like he has to literally he learns reading like Louis L'Amour, like Western books and stuff. It's like holy shit. But that's not. I mean, Mayweather. Apparently, Mayweather's kind of illiterate. But I mean,
great fucking video of him just being interviewed. And, dude, the guy. It's after the Pacquiao fight, right? And the interviewer goes, "Floyd, what do you think about the magnitude of this fight?" And Floyd's like, "Oh, this is unbelievable. The magnitude." Like, dude, his reaction to the word magnitude is just like, what the fuck?
That guy's Jesus. That dude's an incredible fighter. How do you feel about boxing in general? Do you like boxing? Would you watch it?
I like boxing.
I do too.
Boxing. Yeah, I watch boxing, but only the big ones. You know,
all those Jake Paul fights.
But yeah, no. Well, that's what I was gonna say. It's kind of like becoming a bit of an embarrassment right now. Like I watched the Jake Paul fight. Wrestling. Right, I watched that Jake Paul fight, and I was like, man, it's kind of fucking shit.
Yeah,
like
it's pretty bad.
They're just kind of like grappling each other. There's no actual
for the money they're making. It's like, dude, there's guys around 10 blocks away that are destroying themselves for
Conor made $50 million to lose.
Yeah, for real.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I like boxing a lot. I tried my hand at like some backyard boxing when I was younger, and it did not go well. It didn't go awful, but my septum is like permanently pushed like one way.
Shit.
Like I can lift my nose up. So anytime I get like sinus infections and stuff, like it's fucking awful. I got I had this little chip in one of my teeth from the same punched in the face, nose broke, and then I'm like, holy shit, there's a chunk. There's like a little
gloves?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely with gloves. But I can remember boxing one of my brother's friends, a very lovely guy named Chip. And I was like 15. And we were in our backyard. And I mean, he was just like decking on me. And I just remember finally just getting so pissed and just letting him hit me in the face and walking up and just throwing as hard as I could, as fast as I could, and just knocking him on his ass. And I was like, so if I can just get punched in the face like 10 or 12 times, I'm fine. That works when you're boxing some fucking white dude named Chip. But when it's like the dude who broke my nose, about 6'3", but we were about the same size. But I threw a jab, and he in his head was like, he's going to throw a jab. And when I threw that jab, he just crossed directly over my arm and like hit the side of my nose. Oh my God. Yeah. Not even like on the front, like the side, and it fucking pushed my septum over and shit. It was fun.
That's crazy, man.
I busted both his fucking contact lenses out, and it was kind of brutal for being like 15 years old. Like we were fucking each other up. Like I had blood all over me and shit.
About that age is when I started going to a boxing gym, and I went for quite a while too. I actually lost quite a bit of weight then. But like going to that boxing gym really, really taught me how fucking difficult it is just to last like 5 rounds of 3 minutes, dude.
No, yeah,
like
Jesus.
it's just like holy shit, man. Like you need stamina and endurance to be able to do these 3
cardio.
Rounds. It's crazy,
dude. Yeah, that's like now
skipping rope bullshit.
I fucking love cardio. I'll do ellipticals for like an hour. I love doing cardio because I just afterwards I feel like I can run for miles. Like I feel like I can just keep running. And what we're gonna do, because that's kind of like my opening thoughts. I can't wait till we do more of these, because this is not my favorite. I like that this is your favorite, but I can't wait till we do the second one, because that's just, I don't know. I like the second one a lot more. You know why? Because the stakes are higher. Like now he has notoriety and people are calling him out, and now he has this eye injury that just goes away after the second one, which is kind of bullshit. I hate that. Like I kind of wish that they had stopped after Rocky 2, honestly, but you don't get Rocky 4 and you don't get Creed, and it's like, I don't know. So I'm excited to get into this, and what we're going to do, because this movie, if you're looking at this, and this is an hour, right at 2 hours, hour 59 minutes or 37 seconds. Your inciting incident does not happen until like 55 minutes into this movie. That is outrageous. That is insane. That would never happen today, ever, unless you're like fucking Denis Villeneuve or like Christopher Nolan. You're not going to get away with something like that, you know?
I was just about to say the inciting incident in Dune happens like an hour and something in, like an hour and 20 in.
Right. And sometimes that's cool. Like Ghostbusters kind of had that a little bit. You didn't really know what was going on. There was kind of like a mystery to it. But this is so much character. And I think that this makes me think almost of a Stephen King story, because there's not a lot of like plot that happens, but it's a lot of like Stephen King. Yeah. Stephen King literally, he's like, I don't ever think in terms of story. I always think like, let this thing happen and what would my characters do, and just let the vines take over.
That's something that I want to talk about. Yeah. Cause I lately I've been finding myself, much more interested in character sort of development than story, like the overall of like where we're going. I mean, like definitely, you know, the ideal thing is to have both, right? Great characters and a great story. That's the ideal thing. But like lately, man, I'm just like, if the story is not great, but the characters are really well developed and I want to see more of those characters, then sign me up. But if it's the other way around, like if the characters suck but the story's okay, then I'm just like, I don't really know about that. Like, you know, like you said that, you know, the inciting incident in Rocky doesn't happen 55 minutes in. I am more than fucking okay with that, because like I get to see who Rocky is and like how he interacts with people, but like also like him at the gym and like, you know, like being like, man, like I was here for like, you know, 6 fucking years and I'm on fucking Skid Row. Yeah.
The world building.
But right. And, you know, like we get to see like his relationship with Paulie, and then like he's really wanting to court Adrian and what that really means to him. And I just, man, like, I don't know. I love all of that. Like, you know, like all of the setup, all of the character stuff. Because, like, by the time we get to that last fight, if we don't have this character development, then why the fuck do I care? Why the fuck do I care in that last fight?
Because it's not Rocky IV. It's not, you don't have that Vincent DiCola score. You don't have, you know, come on, you know, a few cheers now for Rocky Balboa. You know, you don't have that. The fight at the end of this is only like fucking 8 minutes. It's very quick compared to the other movies. And I think you're exactly right. You lose those character moments. And I mean, there's a reason why this, I think a lot of people think like, oh yeah, it won an Oscar for Best Picture, or won Best Director and Best Editing too. Like this fucking cleaned house.
That was a huge year, by the way. That was Network also cleaned up. Network was a huge Sidney Lumet movie. But also Taxi Driver, Robert De Niro. I mean, like, dude, fucking Peter Finch won Best Actor for Network, right? And the people that were nominated with him, it's fucking crazy. It's like it's Sylvester Stallone, Robert De Niro for Taxi Driver, and William Holden again for Network. So it's like, holy shit, dude! Like it's a crazy fucking stacked year.
Yeah, absolutely. But this, we can kind of take this whole first chunk, you know, and talk about it, because there's really, it's a lot of our setup. We're introduced to Rocky. We see him fighting at this just grungy ass place. You know, he gets headbutted and the fight just keeps going. It's like, okay. I don't think that's in the rules.
Right. There's a lot of stuff that happens in this that's not in the rules. But like, I'm so sorry to bring it back. Because I was already on the Oscars kind of page.
Yeah.
Dude, you never see love for horror movies. But credit to the Academy for 1977, because fucking Sissy Spacek, actress in a leading role, was nominated, and Piper Laurie was nominated for Carrie as well.
Oh, that's
nice.
Like,
holy shit, man! Like you never see, you know, love for horror movies, like maybe like Get Out and stuff, but you know, like the Academy like hates horror movies. But anyway, sorry, go on.
No, yeah, absolutely. Well, I think except for maybe like The Exorcist, I think The Exorcist won. I don't know if it won or if it was nominated, but yeah, it won some shit like writing, best screenplay. I don't know. But the whole beginning setup we get here is just, God, this city is like 2 mass shootings away from like Judge Dredd style lockdown. Like,
yeah.
And that's the crossover I want, is like Rocky gets injured. It becomes RoboCop. They turn him into Judge Dredd. And it's just him shooting Paulie in the dick.
Have you ever been to Philadelphia?
No, I have not.
Okay. I have. Surprised. It fucking blows my mind that I've been to more places in the US than you have. I can't.
I've never been on a plane.
You're a fucking asshole. You're fucking.
The farthest I've been is like Florida.
Jesus Christ. I love Philadelphia. I spent a couple nights there. They love this movie, obviously. I mean, like this.
Oh, I bet.
This is a huge thing for them. I climbed the steps. I did the whole Rocky thing.
Nice.
It was awesome. They have like a little statue of him. The statue that gets unveiled in the third one. That's actually there.
Is it still there? Because I heard they moved it because it's the Philadelphia Museum of Art, I think, is what's...
They might have moved it now, but I went about, what is it? Yeah, I went about 3 years ago. And it was there on the right-hand side.
They called it like, this is not art, this is a movie prop. And I was like, how dare you, you piece of... Detroit has a statue of RoboCop. Don't act like you're... It makes me think of Bill Burr. Have you seen Bill Burr versus the City of Philadelphia?
No.
Dude, they roast some comedian friend of his. I think it's Dom Herrera, and they busted Dom Herrera's balls, and he comes out there for 14 minutes, and he's like, you fucking Philly cheesesteak eating motherfucker, brotherly love, fucking Liberty Bell motherfucker. And he just goes out there and he's like, oh, you know that movie Invincible, the one with Mark Wahlberg? A fucking bartender went out for your football team and that's your hero? It is so fucking funny, dude. But at the end of it, he gets all of them like laughing at them. And he was like, you fucking, he's like, city of brotherly love, Jesus, can you find a more like place that hates fucking gay people and stuff? It's fucking great, dude. Homophobic. Jesus, I couldn't think of that goddamn word. But this whole, by the way, the production on this too, like they shot this, I don't know how soon they did. It cost them like $1 million. They made, I think in 76 dollars, it's 225 million. And today that would be like a little bit over $1 billion, I think, adjusted for inflation. So this is like an Avengers level.
We're both on the same Wikipedia page. Yeah, 1.02 billion.
Yeah, that's crazy to think about. On a 1 million, I mean, but $1 million is probably, I don't know, 180 million today. I don't fucking know. But we're introduced to Rocky. We see what his life is like. $40 for that fight, which by the way is like $180 today. It is something crazy. Like I was like $40. Like no, it's like $170. He just got paid. I was like, oh, that's not terrible, but that's not great for what he's going through. Spider Rico gets $17. It's like, God, that's awful, dude. Jesus, like, imagine getting your brains beat in for $70 like that. It's like that's some Mickey Rourke the wrestler shit, living 17. In a van. Yeah, $17.
17. Yeah, sorry, I thought you said 70. You have 17.
17.
I'm just like, dude. Yeah, that's crazy.
Which again, it's like we were doing the inflation on this the whole time we were watching it. It's like, holy shit, the price of stuff. That's crazy. It's like $17 then is like $70 or $80 today. It's like, what the fuck? That's crazy, man. But we're kind of just going through a day in the life of Rocky. There's not a character that is not introduced here. That's like, oh, we're going to shovel this guy in at the end. Maybe except for, I think, Joe Frazier pops up and says hello to Apollo, but that's about it. Rocky wins the fight. Everybody's calling him bum. He's bumming cigarettes from people. There's one thing also, too, about the 70s that kind of drives me nuts. People touch each other a lot more. They're very touchy. Did you notice this?
This is just you talking after a fucking massive pandemic, probably. But
yeah. But that is one like I am not a person who enjoys being touched. I am a hugger, which is weird. Like
that's unfortunate for Lindsay.
Yeah, I know. Well, like if it's somebody or if it's friends of mine or something, but like if a friend of mine's like, you know what I mean? And they're touching I'm like, dude, stop shoving me in the shoulder. I don't like that. Like, if you want to give me a hug or we can high five or something like that's fine.
I'm a hugger. I
am too. But I don't like the whole, like, let me put my arm around you. And then like Paulie's touching Rocky in the stomach when they're in the hallway. It's like, dude, I'm not gay. Stop fucking touching me, dude. like it's right. That is a 70s thing as fuck though. Like if you watch The Exorcist, Father it's like Lieutenant Kinderman and Father Dyer, like they link up arms at one point and they barely know each other. It's like, are we about to fuck? Yeah. What is going on here? Like, this is crazy. It's so weird. Maybe that is the pandemic, to think just people like, you might as well just go around licking doorknobs. God damn it, people. Like, but this, I mean, literally they live in the fucking city from The Crow. So what do they care?
Dude, Rocky goes home and lives in a fucking hovel, man. Dude. Like, we've seen his fucking Jesus. Dude, fucking Adrian's in there later. She's like, I don't belong here. Yeah, you're right. You don't belong here. No one belongs here. This is a fucking. This is a condemned building,
dude.
Man.
Yes. That's what, like, I just wanted her to pan over, and instead of the painting of the dogs playing cards, it's like roaches. It's just like giant cockroaches playing cards.
Oh, shit.
I like
a wrecking ball comes straight through the fucking window.
Yeah. One of the singers on the corner, that is Frank Stallone. That's Sylvester Stallone's brother.
Nice.
His dad's the guy ringing the bell at the end of the fight. I was like, that's pretty cool. A lot of these pictures are really like his pictures and stuff. And you just, God, you get this sense the mattress wrapped around the beam is like an improvised heavy bag. Like all this different stuff. It's just kind of like, it's so charming, but it's also like, Stallone says, he's like, when I wrote Rocky, I lived in apartment that was so small I could shut the door and open the window at the same time. And he was like, it was like an 8x9 tiny fucking, it's like a coffin, you know. It's like nothing.
Was that after or before his porno?
I guess this is probably after, yeah, because I think, wasn't he in like a softcore porn movie?
Right. Yeah, the Italian Stallion. I wanted to bring up John G. Avildsen.
Avildsen?
Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, this guy had a kind of like a John McTiernan moment. He did Die Hard and then Predator and then fucking Hunt for Red October. Avildsen did Rocky and then The Karate Kid.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, damn. Two like massively pop cultural things that are being reverberated today. Like, it's crazy.
What's weird is he didn't direct anything for 2 years after Rocky. And then he got a Razzie in like 80. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, that's so weird. But I like that Stallone still has these turtles in real life. That's awesome. Cuff and Link. I love that fucking thing.
That's cool.
But, we're introduced to Adrian, played by Talia Shire. She's so different from God, dude. Her and the Godfather. That is so outrageously, and these are very close together in time too. Like, it just really shows you, like, good Lord.
One thing I did, Mr. Simpson, on the day of my daughter's wedding.
Yeah. One thing that's cool is because I was like, Italian Stallion, that's pretty clever. Stallone in Italian is Stallion. I was like, oh, that's cool, Stallone.
Oh, that's
awesome. That's fucking awesome,
nice,
dude.
nice.
That's really cool. Stallone, man, that story, like, I love Total Recall, the Schwarzenegger book. I need a Stallone, like, Total Recall. Yeah,
Total Recall was awesome, dude. Such a great autobiography. Yeah.
And these guys, I mean, this was like the Iron Man and Captain America of the 80s. Like, this was like, dude. Yeah. But it's so interesting because it's like, yes, Schwarzenegger might have had like a more successful career in terms of like, he didn't make 5 or 6 of the same movie. He did one. He was, I mean, I guess maybe except for Terminator. But Stallone is like, dude, this guy wrote Rocky though. Like Schwarzenegger never wrote shit. Like,
never came up with anything barely speak English.
Right. Yeah. But exactly.
Let's no. You gotta compare it to today's time, Colin. These two are the Dwayne Johnson and the Vin Diesel of today.
Fuck you. God damn it. I do think The Rock is the Schwarzenegger of today. It's like there's no, for better and for worse.
I can't stand him now, man. I just honestly, like, I liked him.
It's about drive. It's about power. It's like, God. Like as far as like a fit, like, you are the fitness icon now. Like, you are the new Stallone. You are the new Schwarzenegger. That's awesome. I can't wait to see him in Black Adam. I think Black Adam's really cool. Like, I saw a Taylor.
I know what's going to happen. It's just going to be him.
Yeah.
He does his thing of like appealing to like the mass audience, which is great, which is exactly what he wants, But
like, he does very, very safe movies. Yeah.
Yeah. It's so pandering. And I'm just like, man, like, just do the rundown was so good because like it was a little risky because he was playing a bit of an asshole in that movie.
Yeah,
like he does have like a come to Jesus moment, but like I don't know, man. Like there's I don't know. He's just so every time I see a new Facebook post from him now, it's just so fucking cringy, man.
Yeah,
I can't do it.
If somebody told me he wasn't a real person, I'd be like, I believe that. Somehow, I think he is. I think he's like a John Carpenter The Thing, and he's just like assimilating people because he just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Fitness wise, though, really fucking inspiring. Like honestly, like
you're like just look up what that guy eats in a day, and your jaw will drop. It's insane. Crazy. So as you said, we're introduced to Adrian. Again, right away. We're 12 minutes in. We've got 4 people that have called him a fucking bum so far, and this lady running the pet shop is one of them. We see Rocky's day-to-day life. You know, he's a leg breaker down at the docks. But this is the kind of, I guess, like the save the cat moment. I feel like of like what his character is. He doesn't break this guy's thumb. Right. Like he decides against violence, even when he's directly told to do it and or suffer the consequences. I think that's very telling. We meet Joe Spinell as Gazzo. Joe Spinell also in The Godfather. I think he's in Maniac. I think that's like a Tom Savini. I don't know if he directed that or if he does the special effects, but I have not actually seen it. But apparently Maniac is it's extremely violent. I think there's like a very famous shot of Tom Savini's head in a car, and it just like Joe Spinell walks up with a shotgun and just blows his head off at point blank. It is extremely, Maniac came out in 1980. You can watch it free on Pluto. That's what it's called. Jesus Christ. Budget $350,000, made $10 million. That's Jesus. Good Lord.
That's a hell of an ROI.
Yeah. The driver who drives him around is like, this guy
fucking asshole, man.
I hope this guy dies of a very painful cancer in the next like 20 months. Cause this dude is a piece of fucking shit, man.
You know what the smartest thing to do is? Not to insult the guy that boxes for a living
and breaks his legs for your boss.
Yeah, don't insult that guy because
I know.
When push comes to shove, you kind of want him on your side.
When push comes to shove, this guy's fucking like power bombing people through the table. Right. Like
when push comes to shove, you're fucking dead because that shove's gonna kill you.
Right. But I love the shot of them, and he's chastising him for not breaking this guy's thumb, and just the rundown buildings, the graffiti, like, oh my God, it's such a shithole. Is
this London? Like, World War II London? What the fuck?
Is this like life in wartime? Rocky goes to Mighty Mix, the fighting gym, the iconic. I love when he tries to get into his locker. Do you see the little black sign that is behind him on his left, your right? It's on the wall above the fire extinguisher. It says, "No kissing." I swear to God, there is a little black sign that says "No kissing." And I was like, what the fuck? Is that a problem here? And I was like, what is happening in this? I just imagine like all of the guys making out at once and Mickey running in with a wet towel, like, get out of here, get out. And he's like scaring off like raccoons.
The 70s. Dude, well, Rocky opens his locker and I'm just like, oh, he likes black chicks. Nice.
Yeah, right. That's how I love this movie. It's like, well, you definitely know it's not Rocky's. It's like racist ass. Like,
yeah. He turns around. Where's my locker?
Yeah. I did see something that they were like, in almost every Rocky movie, there is a white fighter who beats a black fighter and always upsets. I was like, oh shit, that is true. Like the great white hope kind of like thing. And like he's talking to that bartender at one point. The bartender is like, oh, we got these like jigs. Something. It's like, what the fuck? Like it's pretty bad, whatever he says. And as you're watching it, I was reading this article that was like, like a white boxer humbles a black boxer every time in one of these movies. And I was like, oh shit, I didn't really think about that. It's like not until Creed comes around.
I mean, like Apollo Creed is already like world champion. I don't know. Like there's you can probably go back and find some stuff like that. But I mean, having a guy like Apollo Creed, like an African American in this pretty much like a position of power the entire movie. Like that's pretty progressive for its time, I think.
Yeah, and honestly, Lindsay and I were shocked as we were watching it. The woman who interviews Rocky and the meat things, like, is that a black woman news reporter in 1976?
Right. Yeah,
I was like, wow, that's awesome. But we see him
and no comment on it. You know, there's like the movie doesn't like bring any attention to it. Yeah.
I don't fucking like these donkeys, but whoa.
Hey,
that would be, Mickey,
easy.
They don't have a lot of screen time on Mickey. He's like, back in my day, men were men and coloreds were coloreds. And it's like, all right, let's get you home, Mickey.
It's like men fucked women.
I know. It's like Mickey, for some odd reason, I just think Mickey lives in like a sardine can that he just puts the lid on top of every night. He looks like he just lives in, he's like Oscar the Grouch in a human form. But the
Burgess Meredith is so good in this. In up until his death in 3 or 4? 3.
Yes, 3. He's dude
up until his death. Yeah.
Oh, I love his death in 3. He was like, I can't, and he just stops, and it's like, oh, that scene is gripping. The guy who plays was it? I think they're saying like Dipper. I think Dipper is the boxer. That's Stan Shaw. He's in Monster Squad, Fried Green Tomatoes, Jeepers Creepers 3. Actually, you had
to get one in there, didn't you? Fucking Monster Squad.
He's a great actor, though. I like him. He says, why don't you think about retiring? He's like, Dipper's actually got prospects. And I think he sums up Rocky pretty well. You got heart, but you fight like a goddamn ape. Like, boom. That is Rocky.
Yeah.
Pretty much. It's like, you got heart, like you got your good head on your shoulders, but like you swing like there's not going to be another punch in 30 seconds. He's always batting for the fences. We see him again at the pet shop. And at this point, that's when I was just like, okay, dude, I think Adrian is clear. Like, I would not be surprised if Adrian was like, yeah, he just wouldn't leave me alone. And we just ended up having this whole life together kind of thing.
Right. I just let it happen. I just let it happen.
I just thought, you know what? This can't get right. He's going to punch himself to death in like a year and a half, and I'm not going to have to worry about him anymore. And everybody, that real cute guy down the block who works at the hardware store will think I'm nice for dating this can't get right. But there is something sweet I love about the fact that Rocky is like, a dum-dum like me and a shy person like you, but it is kind of like you have the book and the street smarts right here. Like you have pretty much the heart of your movie right here. I love this is night and day,
No, it is. It absolutely is night and day. And this scene in particular is great because it really highlights who these two are. Rocky is not comfortable with awkward silences. He will like ramble and talk about stuff. And Adrian's just gonna, Adrian's not gonna talk. Adrian's just she's a listener. She takes things in. And like it gets to this point where Rocky's like talking about these birds, and he's like, "Oh, it's like colored candy," And I'm just like, "Holy shit, man! You can find a sentence out of anything. Like you're just one of those ramblers." And I wonder if it's like ADHD or something like that. But like, like Adrian is just working away at the thing, and whether she is too shy to take out a restraining order, I don't know. But like, Rocky is that childish. I feel like he's got that childish mindset of like, oh man, she actually said goodnight, Rocky, to me, like in this last moment. Maybe she does like me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like
6 months to say a word to him.
Right. But like, he looks at that one sentence that she says, and he's runs with it. I feel like he's that kind of guy. He's that kind of guy.
Well, absolutely, and I think that there's something crazy about the fact that with Rocky, he is isolated almost this entire movie. Like, very rarely do you see him around a lot of people. Like, he might go and do this with Paulie, and he might meet up with me, but it's Paulie's like his only friend. He has no family. There's nobody else. And I think with Adrian, it's kind of the same thing. And Sylvester Stallone was like, what I kind of pictured was that, Rocky sees this person who's like even lower on the totem pole than him, and he's like protective of her. I was like, that's a very sweet sentiment, but like, this guy's 2 stones throw away. Like, I just wanted him to get up to the apartment, and they turn around and they pull Adrian's mask off, and he's like, "Hi, why don't you go ahead and take a seat? I'm Chris Hansen with Dateline." It's fucking Adrian. It's just like him dressed up as Adrian from the neck down. Like, so when you say that you return this turtle food, Were you really just coming up with some excuses to see Adrian? That's me. That's so me. You know what happened to him? Stallone was born. They put forceps on him. The forceps, it pinched. Yeah, it fucked it. So like, I think like half his face is paralyzed or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, pushy, very pushy. He's going by twice a day. It's like Jesus Christ, dude.
He's doing drive-bys, dude. Like he comes by twice a day. He's like he's got like this little. He's probably got like a little detective's outfit, like this giant jacket across the street. He's got a newspaper, just like looking through the fucking window. He's like, I can't even read. Newspaper's upside down because he can't read.
Yeah. It's just like crayon all over. Apparently, Stallone said he was like, I pictured Rocky as a guy who has a lot of free time. And between fighting and leg breaking, he can't do those things like, 8 hours a day. So this is a guy who's always seeing the world around him. He can take his time and walk through the tulips and observe people. And he's kind of reacting to what they're doing. He doesn't really implement his will a lot. Like he's always kind of reacting to what other people are doing. So
that's why he goes to the gym, because he's got free time. He's got fucking time for that shit. God damn it.
Right. Like he's at the gym at like 10:30 in the morning on a Tuesday. And it's like, what the fuck are you doing here? But again, we have this nice little, this cute moment with him. He leaves and goes to the tavern. Again, such a nice, him picking up the drunk guy outside and bringing him inside. It's bitterly cold. We just saw it snowing like last scene. I love that.
But also don't manhandle me. Like, if I'm drunk, don't pick me up like I'm a fucking ragdoll and
which is
me
impressive.
Next to some random guy, by the way.
Yeah, and like the guy he sits him with, I don't even think he's drunk. He's like schizophrenic, like pointing at the table and just talking to nobody. It's like, what the fuck?
He just fucking stabs him, dude. Like it would have been safer to be outside.
Yeah. He's like, dude, that would be hilarious. He's like, why do you think I was laying out there? That guy just beat the shit out of me. Don't bring me back in here, you asshole. We're introduced to Zohab's favorite character, Paulie, played by Burt Young. As we were talking off air, it's like, poor guy could not get out from underneath this character ever. Like I've never seen him in another movie. I'm sure he's done other stuff. I can almost say with certainty he has, but I've never seen it ever. I've never seen Burt Young in anything.
So Rocky,
God, he's a dick. My sister's a fucking loser. It's like, Jesus Christ,
dude.
Man.
Later, when he's just talking about her virginity and she's busted, and I'm like, what the fuck?
God,
busted? Oh, she's not a fucking vending machine, man. What the fuck?
I know, dude. This isn't like driving a new car off the car lot. Right. It's like it's automatically used. And we meet Apollo on TV, which is pretty cool. Yep. So right here, I mean, we're 26 minutes in, we got all our characters for the most part.
Well, we meet Apollo, but then we also get like his reputation behind him as well, because Rocky respects him. Like Rocky's like, you're going to talk that way about Apollo Creed? Right. Like I love this whole kind of like, again, world building, right? We're setting up these characters. We're setting up who they are. We're setting up Apollo Creed as this person not to be fucked with. And I love it.
Let me take a shot. I'll take a shot. That's one of my favorite lines in it. Just him pouring the drink. I was like, that's great.
And then we get Rocky spending time with this young girl.
Oh, Jesus. And they bring her back. And Rocky, but she's like a main character in Rocky Balboa. I don't think it's the same actor, but
it's not the same actress, no.
But it's just insane to see what is she supposed to be, like 12, walking down the street smoking a cigarette? Like it's like, good God Almighty. One thing that's funny is
though, because she's with the local, can't get right, the town,
right?
The town,
this always ends up well. One of the craziest things is they were so just like time constrained and just. Everybody was just running around like crazy. There's a Hertz truck in the background that's all their equipment is on that thing. I was like, oh my God.
Oh, wow.
I've watched this movie 100 times. I had to look that up on the internet. But a lot of this stuff with her and Rocky, I feel like if you want to make an argument, some of this stuff could be cut out, because I don't know if I don't want to be, I don't know if I need this scene, but I don't know if the movie needs this scene. I think you've already proven the point. He's a good guy, and a lot of people give him a bum rap. I don't need to know what a 12-year-old who sits on corners thinks about Rocky. I don't really give a shit about that. But I do like the fact that it shows that Rocky is kind of like his elders treat him like shit, and the young people think he's a fucking doofus. The only thing I wish if they had been like, fucking Rocky, Rocky the retard or something. Like, I would love to see these kids be like, oh yeah, you're just an idiot. Like nobody fucking respects this dude. I don't know if I need a whole tracking shot of them walking across this parking lot, to get that across, because at the end of it, she just goes, oh, fuck you, and goes inside. And I'm like, this was pointless. I don't really think that this scene is entirely necessary. I enjoy
this conversation though. I enjoy this conversation because it's him, like, obviously steering her away from, potentially bad things, but like, his outlook on reputation and like why that's important to him and why it should be important to others, and like how people remember you when you pass away, or like, in later life. Because like, like he's this genuinely, we can take away how he treats Adrian, like, whatever. But he's this genuinely, he's supposed to be a sweet person. Right, he's supposed to be a person who looks out for others, as we saw, the guy outside the bar, and like, as we'll come to know him in later movies, and that's kind of like, this is kind of like his mantra, I think. Like, as we're setting him up, like he's this kind of person who wants to be respected, but not commanding respect, but just being a nice person, just being a nice dude, and that's why I enjoy this conversation. But like, also, to do a tracking shot in 1976 like this is pretty. I think
actually the guy who built and created the Steadicam was using a prototype on this movie, and then at one point their batteries were dead, and they had to hook up 2 car batteries. So he's running with 2 car batteries.
That's so cool.
And
I love that shit.
That's like 190 fucking pounds, man. That's a lot of weight. In 76, that thing's got to be the size of a vending machine. It's like, film, what the fuck? Yeah, with film. Like, holy hell. We see that Apollo's fighter has he's been injured, broke his hand, can't fight, 5 weeks till the fight. Hey, we got to put this thing on. I love the guy who plays his trainer, Duke. He is in The Shining. He's the guy that Scatman Crothers rents the snowplow and everything from. Yep. This guy
Duke becomes a regular in the series.
Yeah. This guy, he was in prison. I don't know if it was armed robbery.
I can't remember. Have you seen the color of his skin? Of course he was, man. Come on, Jesus.
You can say that. I can't. This guy picked up acting in prison and it just took off. And it's like, dude, I love, in the second one, he has one of the best lines. He's like, Apollo, I saw you throw everything you could at that man, and he kept coming. And I was like, that right there is the sentence to be like, I saw you give your best and hit that person with everything I've ever seen you hit somebody with, and he still kept coming. It's like, oh, that's so scary. It makes Rocky sound like Jason Voorhees or something, dude. Apparently they have a business meeting with the Penguin. I don't know who the fuck this guy is. There's like Danny DeVito's father.
Dude, yeah, this guy.
It's like Jurgens. I think he's like the promoter. I like it, Apollo. It's very American. It's like, who are you? Are you a Bond villain?
Yeah, are they at the fucking Ice Lounge? What is this? But like, I love Carl Weathers in this movie, man. I really, really, I think he's awesome. I'm not going to pretend like that I've seen all of the Carl Weathers movies, but like, I mean, he in Predator, there's a thing in Arrested Development where he has this like recurring role.
Oh, he does.
I think all he wants to do is like cook. He wants to be a chef, but like everyone's quoting this movie, Rocky, and like Predator and shit, and he's just like, man, I'm fucking over this.
As far as athletes, because I'm pretty sure Carl Weathers was, I think he was a football player.
Dude, have you seen his body in this, man? He's fucking
dude. He's a Greek god in this movie. Yeah. Like
I mean, I know they name his son Adonis, but he is an Adonis in this movie.
Yeah, he was a professional football player. Apparently, he played with the Oakland Raiders from 70 to 71. Apparently, but still, I mean, dude, Jesus, that was 5 years before this. This guy stayed in that shape after 5 years. Like, good God Almighty.
And continue to do it. I mean, for the sequel, and
yeah, he arguably looks like better in Rocky IV, and it's 10 years later. It's like, holy hell, man!
Right.
Like, he's just
when you get that gay ass beach scene when they're hugging in Rocky IV, dude. Like he's got this like cool crop top going, and
I don't even care about like that whole scene. Like they go to run, and he was like, "Oh, Mickey never had me do this." It's like, "Oh yeah, Mickey never had you race Apollo." Yeah, you know why? Because he's the antagonist. Why would you train with him, you stupid fuck? That's such a dumb line. Anyways, so they decide, hey, we're going to give a no-name contender a shot. That's what we're going to do. We see that I like this. The only reason I like this scene between Rocky and Gazzo and Buddy is, Gazzo gives him the money. He's like, hey, take her somewhere nice. And Buddy, he's like, hey, do what I told him. He's like, well, I said, take her to the zoo, and just drives off. It's so good, dude. That's so mean. They settle on the Italian stallion.
Call her a retard.
I know. Which, I mean, I guess that was the term, back in the day.
Yeah.
But when it's a pretty dated movie when retard is like the least offensive thing that's said in it.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, good God. I mean, it's not like they get out there and they're just like N-word. It's like they don't just like go out there and say it. But they decide on the Italian stallion. They're like, hey, that's, it sounds like a goddamn monster movie. I love that a lot. And there is something weird about 70s and 80s. There was this weird importance on race, because you see Carl Weathers be like, what better to whoop an Italian on, Thanksgiving? And it's like, what is the fuck does that have to? I guess that people care. Right.
Well, Columbus was Italian, right? So.
Right. But I'm like, nowadays it'd be like, oh yeah, Logan Paul beat so-and-so on this date and he's Sicilian. I'd be like, what the fuck does that? I don't care about that. Like, what does that have to do with? I don't see color, It's a gift and a curse.
It's
a gift and a curse.
Maybe it was bigger back then. I mean, like I guess if it is, because I will always remember Pacquiao and Mayweather. I don't know why. I think that matchup was awesome. So maybe it was a thing back then, but like I like the idea of, I like that Apollo is a showman. Like, like he wants to bring in these other reasons to fight this guy. While also offering like a little bit of a charity case, like, we'll give this no name a fight, whatever. But I only recently found out that Columbus Day was a bit of a a bit divisive, and that's just because I rewatched that episode of The Sopranos. It's literally called the episode is called Christopher, and it's, you think it's about Christopher Moltisanti, but it's about Christopher Columbus. And
we see, in this office, this is Irwin Winkler's office. They put it was on the MGM lots. So they put those are like just backdrops that they just put
that's
in
awesome.
the windows. Like, that's really cool. That's how, we get to see with them going to, have Thanksgiving with Adrian, and the production was so cheap that the turkey was literally thrown out into like a sheet, and guys caught it, and they literally put the turkey leg back on with a pin, and then he would just peel it off again and start chewing on it. And they would shoot the scene.
Good.
Yes, that is some like punk rock renegade, like cheap ass filmmaking.
Guerrilla filmmaking shit.
Yes,
yeah,
I love. Which is crazy to think like guerrilla filmmaking for $1 million in 1975. But basically they've shown up. Hey, you're going to take her on a date. I love Rocky's like, you're sure she knows? Because he knows Paulie. He's like, you're sure she knows that I'm coming? And as soon as she sees him, she's like, nope, and just leaves. She's so good,
sweet.
Man.
She's so sweet. She's so I don't know. Like,
she's very mousy. I like that.
Yeah,
the lights come on and she just scatters.
Right, like you kind of get a sense of like, why is she like this? Like, what's her life been? What's her life been up until this point? Or like, why is she? What has she experienced? And then you see the way Paulie treats her. You see the way he like calls us shit, and I'm just like, of course she's mousy and withdrawn, and doesn't want to socialize because her family. And we're just seeing Paulie. We don't know who their parents are.
Right. Imagine if this is Paulie is this bad. Imagine what their dad is like. Right.
Exactly. So I'm just like, man, like there is so much. You could do a prequel. I don't want to say a prequel, by the way, but you could do a prequel on just her life. And I feel like, like up until like how she got to this point, and we see her later come out of her shell, and that's another part of these movies that I really like is like how much she comes out of her shell. Like they have like there's so many good moments in 2 and 3, especially where there's a moment on the staircase, dude. I think it's before the Drago fight.
You can't win.
Right, yeah. And I'm just like, fuck, man, that's so good. Because she can't do that in this movie. You need to give her that runway to become that person in number 4. And I love it.
I think she gets really underutilized, especially in like Rocky 3. She's pretty good in Rocky, but they're like they either use her as like a catalyst in so much Rocky 4, Rocky 5, Rocky 3. She's the one to kind of snap, Rocky out of this funk. But in the first 2, she's just kind of like there. But I like her character though, but there's just so little to know about her. It's just that like Adrian's shy. That's it. Like she's so shy, you're not going to learn anything. It's like, damn, but that's cool though. I dig that. I love him talking to the door. He's like, "You're doing great." He's like, "I'm not doing great. I'm fucking talking to a door." Like there's some clever lines, man. These movies have been weirdly funny at times. When I was like, I don't expect them to be. The humor works in a lot of these. Some of them not so much, but they go on this ice skating.
By the way, if I'm cooking if I'm fucking baking a turkey like that, and this motherfucking walks in and throws it at the door, you're dead.
Oh,
I'm
dude.
killing you.
You know how long it probably took to cook that thing? It's not a huge bird, but still. Yeah. Jesus Christ, man.
I don't give a fuck, man.
Still.
Preparation and shit. No.
That's so just like, I don't know. They never show Rocky haul off and just hit Paul, even in the gut, just give him a good like rib shot just to remind him, just be like, listen, dude, I can do that anytime I want. Like, you asshole.
This guy succumbs to fucking a heart attack in 2 years anyway.
Oh, dude. No, they could only be so lucky, because he loses all of their money in the 5th one. It's like,
yes, that's right.
You left him in charge of your money. Like, I think this is
Rocky's not also not the sharpest.
Right. Like, there's a great Bob's Burgers episode where they leave, like, they have to get this very special black garlic and they leave it up to Gene. And the wife, Linda, she's like, "Bob, I think you kind of left it on Gene so you would fail and you wouldn't have to do this." And it's like, yeah, that's kind of what it feels like. You put that money into Paulie so you could lose a bunch of shit.
Right.
They go on this ice skating date. I like this. Apparently, this was supposed to be a huge daytime shot with like 300 people. They showed up and were like, "Oh, by the way, we're going to have to do this at night and we have one extra. That's it." And he was like, "Okay, let's just say it's their date. We'll do it that way." And I was like, wow, just
this
on
works
the
so much better.
Yes, it's so special.
This works so much better. It feels a lot more intimate, and like him haggling with the guy, right? He's like, $9, you got a deal. And it's like, dude, what are you going to do? Well, it's $1.
Right.
Just let him have it. This guy's a fucking extortionist too.
We get this. My dad told me you don't have much of a brain, develop a body. Her mom said the opposite. This is great. This is yin and yang. This all works out so well together.
Perfect.
Why don't you, I don't understand why anybody would want to be a fighter because I can't sing or dance. That's such a good line. I love that. They get up
and him just running, like jogging to keep up with it.
Don't fall! He's like, I feel like I'm talking loud. I was like, yes, you are. You're screaming, dude.
You're fucking yelling. Dude, you got the guy in the background. 7 minutes!
It's like bring out your dad. Bring out your dad. As soon as they get into that apartment, he was like, and just fucking shreds his shirt. But what's crazy is like, just looking at Stallone's physique. I missed the first 2 movies because it was not a requirement to be a freak of nature by like the 3rd and 4th, like unattainable bodies. Like, this is not an unattainable.
Well, don't forget, at the same time, he was doing the Rambo movies, right? So like, he was like, I'll never forget one of my favorite lines in Tropic Thunder. You were like, "You're more shredded than a julienne salad, man." He's like, any tips? Because you look like Rambo, not in 1 but in 2.
Yeah,
he was
dude,
like, go cut up.
He's like 4% body, and apparently one of their tricks is like they take a lot of diuretics, so they pee a lot, and they purposely dehydrate their bodies and just get. It's
they
like
dehydrate.
So horrible for your organs and shit. Like, oh my god.
Yeah.
We could do a whole episode.
I mean, that's a whole nother world to me, dude. I've got if that's a 6-pack, I've got a fucking
I've got a keg
case.
Yeah, I've always said that. People like, I got a 6-pack. I got about 2 kegs.
Yeah. Right.
We could do a whole episode on his injuries and shit. Holy fuck. This guy has destroyed his body. Like, broke his neck doing Expendables and like 5 years ago. Like, this guy just doesn't know what he's going to die on a set doing some stupid shit like that. He's going to be like, "Oh, fuck you, Tom Cruise," and try to hold his breath for like 20 minutes and die.
Tom Cruise, come on, dude. It's going to be Alec Baldwin.
Did you see that? That they're like, it's like the 2020 interview. I was like, I think that's pretty tasteless. I wouldn't be doing any interviews right now. Like,
it's just like, man, like, it's too soon. And I saw clips of it because I didn't watch it live, but I saw clips of it, and like, it's just, I don't know who on Alec Baldwin's staff told him that this was okay to do this so soon. But it seems like Baldwin is trying to pass the buck a little bit. And, like, you know, that's okay because...
Was he a producer on
it? It is a
well?
shitty situation. He was, yes. It's okay, and I'm not going to really comment on it here, but, like, you know, like I've already kind of said my thoughts on it, but, like, he's talking about, like, how he hasn't slept in weeks and he's exhausted. And I'm just like, man, like, it's too soon for this.
Right.
It's too soon for this. You know, give it some distance.
Yeah, give it some time. I was like, Jesus, you know, I don't know. I just thought it was like, you can see them kind of profiting off of this woman's death and being like, I don't like this. 2020 is like, we got the scoop. Yeah. It's like, this is gross. This feels inappropriate. Right. Feels about as appropriate as what Rocky does in this apartment, where he's just like, no, don't go, and just like he locks the door behind her when she walks in. I'm like, dude.
Yeah, but like, what's the way they're talking before that? Like, she takes a step back.
He keeps getting close.
She takes it. Yeah, dude, so he's got the arms up on the fucking pipe. Like, you know, his biceps are as big as her head. Like, there's a shot of like the bicep in the foreground and her head's in the background, and it's just like she turns around like, I don't belong here. Well, you know, it's okay because you're my guest. And then it's just like he seems like one of those. I don't know, man. Like one of those like like, I don't know, it's just one of those like ads on TV that you see that's just like be careful.
Oh, yes.
Domestic violence.
Absolutely.
Like, you know, it's just, oh my God, man, what is such. But like, just before we do get to this like whole rape scene,
Adrian goes to get a job in 10 years, he just breaks her nose. Right. Like, I don't fucking think so. Yeah, he definitely seems a little old school.
I love him shouting out the window, talking to Paulie.
Yeah, that is, and it's part of me is like, I feel like Paulie is in his house going, do I hear something? Like, I feel like they're that close.
Sitting there watching the TV.
I could use a little bit more of her. Like, if Rocky had been like, hey, listen, I'm just going to sit over here and listen to some music. If you want to come and sit down with me, sit down with me. And it's like, I kind of wish. Because it feels like he is walking all the way across the bridge when I feel like they need to kind of meet a little bit more in the middle. Like I'd like to see a little bit more of her kind of come out. And
yes, reciprocating a little bit.
Right. Yeah. And instead of like, it doesn't feel, I feel like it's, obviously we joke around it. Like it does feel kind of, especially in a 2021 lens, being like, like this is a little, but it's this thing of like, is she just one of those people that's like, you will not make the first move until like I know guys, it's like, you could have your dick in a woman's mouth. I don't know if she likes me though. It's like, dude, are you kidding me? Like, and I used to be like that for a long time. Someone could literally have like their hand on my ass and be like, what does it mean? You know, like I'm just so bad at stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
you read into things, you look into things. Like she is, I don't know. I'm still, as much as I love this movie, I'm still uncomfortable with this whole advancement. I think
I get it.
You know, it's not. It doesn't ruin it for me because, you know, I kind of need to put myself in 1976. But at the same time, was it okay in 1976 as well? I don't know. I wasn't alive back then. Like, you know, she did agree to go out with him. She did agree to come to his apartment. But, you know, she is in the process of backing out towards her door. And, like, even when they pull out, you know, it's like kind of like a mid shot of, like, you know, after they start kissing and then, you know, go down to the floor, they are in the corner.
Yeah.
Like she is, like, cornered in, like, that, like, just behind the door. And it's, you know, like, obviously she reciprocates, you know, she, like, eventually starts getting into it a bit more, but like, you know, to get to that point, New South Wales also just came out with like new consent laws as well, which is, you know, like it's very obvious consent laws, right? Like the person needs to 100% say yes,
right?
Like there can't be any omission or anything like that. There can't be, you know, they need to either say yes or they need to do something that is 100% reciprocating it. They can't
right
not answer.
Right.
That's not
it can't just be like, sure. Yeah. It's like, nah, I gotta, like, I used to be a debt collector. I'd be like, is this so-and-so? They're like, sure. I'm like, yes or no, motherfucker. Like, it's like, I don't need a sure.
Right. Exactly. It needs to be unequivocal.
I would love, I'm not trying to take a pin to this movie, but I would love if Rocky had just been like, you know what? Okay. And he just opens the door and just like, I'm just going to sit on the couch. If you want to go home, go home. It's not going to hurt my feelings. I had a good time. Right. And just to see her close that door on her own, it's like, oh, I would love that. I want to see her do something. I guess the only scene that really happens is that great scene with Paulie when she finally snaps on Paulie is really good. I think that's probably her best moment. But after their date, we get, I like this. Now we're getting, things have gone about as low as they can go. And the first sign that there's any light at the end of that tunnel is Adrian. And as soon as Adrian comes into the picture, boom, you got the fight with Apollo. It's like, damn, that is awesome. It's like she is the catalyst for so much of this stuff. I love as soon as that happens, it's like, dude, it just sets off this like chain reaction of shit that will change all these people's lives forever. Rocky goes to see Mick. He gets the card. I've been coming here for 6 years, and for 6 years you've been sticking it to me. How come? You don't want to know. Yeah, I want to know. This is so good, dude. Because what is it?
Calls him a dago.
Dude, I know. It's like, holy shit, man. Which even Mickey, they're kind of confused on because he definitely seems like Irish Catholic. But in the third one, he's buried in like a Jewish like mausoleum. I was like, what the fuck? Oh. I was like, this is weird. I was like, I definitely thought
it's fluid.
Yeah, well, I was like, okay, is this like this guy seems like he's Mark Wahlberg from The Fighter's dad, like this is definitely an Irish Catholic like dude.
I like that. Mickey Ward's father, something.
Mm-hmm. He's like, okay, I'm going to tell you, you had the talent to become a good fighter, and instead of that, you became a leg breaker for some cheap second-rate loan shark. It's a living, it's a waste of life. Like that is amazing. I love that, and Mickey is kind of an asshole because he gives Rocky the stick all the time until he gets this fight. And then he's all about Rocky. And it is kind of like, no, fuck you, dude. Fuck you. And I think it's so important for that scene they have where he was like, yo, you want to come here? You want to live with me, Mick? It stinks. It's like, that is a great scene. But it is kind of like, yeah, you didn't want shit to do with Rocky until he got this opportunity. But Rocky never took that opportunity for himself. He was given this opportunity. He didn't earn it, really. He didn't work his way up. If he had worked his way up, I really do think Mick would have been there to be like, listen, you got talent. I want to help you. But he's like, listen, like, don't blow this, dude. Seriously, please don't. Let me help you out. He goes to see Juergens. I guess this is the guy who launched the famous lotion company as well as a boxing promoter. Our sales are up 700%. A new website called OnlyFans is out.
I know what you're talking about, but we don't have Juergens here. But I know what you're talking about.
Oh, really? That's interesting. I got several. I am a lotion fiend. I have this ginger skin.
I wonder why.
Yes.
I wonder why.
Dude, that's such a mess.
Stuck up on dishes, too.
That's such a mess. I tried that when I was younger. That's such a mess. That's just a waste. I don't need this.
What, you fucking dry it?
I'm good. I'll do it the way that God intended.
if you come over one day, right, and you close the door to the bedroom, and all I hear is like, I know what you're doing, right?
Yeah, no, I'm fire and dry.
We're sorry for that, listeners, because that must have been a terrible fucking 20 seconds of audio.
But they say, hey, listen, we want you to fight Apollo. He likes you. He's seen you fight. That's a lie. There's no way he's seen Rocky fight. Like, that's definitely, I was like, I don't know about that. I mean, he might have heard about him, but what's crazy at this point, Rocky has fought like 50 or 60 times, which is insane. Like, that means by the end of the series, he has like a 90 fight record. It's like, okay, dude, come on. Like, this is outrageous.
No.
But back then, I mean, they did kind of like, that's not today. Like, Rocky Marciano had a lot more fights than most fighters would ever today because they just didn't take the breaks that they used to. But I like this. This is him kind of rejecting the call. He's like, no, I wouldn't be a good fight. The champ's great. I wouldn't want to waste your time. He thinks they're looking for sparring partners. And they're like, no, like, this is your opportunity. And I love the zoom in on him. And he's almost like dead fucking, like eye fucking the camera. And it's like, yeah, this is the moment when everything changes. We get this. I love the scene of him on TV and stuff. It's just great seeing how kind of like uncivilized he is. He's like, oh, Adrian. And then he gets pissed when they're throwing him off that thing.
He doesn't know this world at all.
No.
Like, he's not from any of this, right? Like, so he doesn't know publicity. But like, there is like a simplicity of it that I really like because like he's a simple guy. I mean, like, we've already established that he might be on the spectrum. So I just love like this, like fucking simple Jack motherfucker getting on TV and like all he
please don't hurt me.
all he wants to do is just shout out to his girlfriend.
That's hilarious.
And Adrian's reaction to this is great. I love Adrian's reaction to this. She's like, "Oh my god, you didn't!" And like, a laugh is great.
Yeah, because we're basically right after the scene. When they're on TV, and we're gonna have the scene between Rocky and Mick. But before we get there, I really gotta pee. I'm gonna go fill up my coffee, get some water. Guys, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with the second half of our coverage of Rocky. Hey guys, what's going on? Colin jumping in here in the middle. Just kind of let you know some stuff that's going on at Midnight Double Feature. First off, please stop by and rate and review us on iTunes. Let us know how we're doing. It helps out so much. It takes 5 seconds and it's free. So there you go. We would really appreciate it. Also, you can find us on our socials. We're on Facebook at Midnight Double Feature. We're on Instagram at Midnight Double Feature. We're on Twitter at MDF Pod. Please also join the group that we have attached to our Facebook page. It's called the After Party. Everybody's invited. That group has been really expanding, and we're really excited to see where it's going. You can also find our website, midnightdoublefeature.com. We got our merch there. If you want to know something, you want to find us on our socials, you want to see what all's going on, that's kind of like our main hub. That's really where to find it if you want it. We also have a podcast for Breaking Bad that we have going on. It's called Bad Crystal. It's an interesting show where I actually haven't seen any of the episodes of Breaking Bad. Zoheb has seen it like 15 times, and he's kind of leading me through it. I'm experiencing it for the first time with a veteran, and it's an interesting dynamic, and it's a lot of fun. And lastly, if you really want to support the show and really put all your cards on the table, we do have a Patreon. That's patreon.com/midnightdoublefeature. It's $5 a month. There's only one tier. You get all access to everything that we've got going on. We've got bonus episodes. We've got off the rails kind of stuff. We've got a lot of stuff that's not going to make it to the main page, and there's a lot more geared for Patreon kind of stuff. So we really hope to see you guys over there. Like I said, plans start at $5 a month and end at $5 a month. That's the only one that we've got going on. We really hope that you guys can join up there, and we will hope to see you soon. See you guys later. Bye-bye. Guys, coming back at you with the second half of our coverage of Rocky from 1976. We are freshly squeezed, as we like to say. Getting back into it, we're really at the scene with Rocky and Mickey, which honestly, this probably is my favorite scene of the movie.
It's the best scene in the movie.
It's very close to it, because Rocky does have a point. In the prior scene, Paulie's like, "Hey, you're going to need people to like help you train, hold a towel, like run errands." He was like, "Nobody cared about me yesterday. I think I'll just keep doing what I did yesterday." It's like, man, that's awesome. I love that Rocky's like, "No fucks, I don't need anybody. Where has anybody been for me?" And then all of a sudden, Paulie wants to help him. Mickey wants to help him, and it's like the only person that really genuinely wants anything to do with him. Gazzo gives him $500, which is like $28,000 in 2021 money.
Right.
And I love that Gazzo gives him money, but not only that, Adrian's the only person that really wants to fuck with him before any of this starts happening. It's very, very interesting. Mickey, and it's so, here's the thing, is it makes you kind of hate Mickey, and you go, God, man, he's really like coming off as desperate. He is desperate. As soon as he shuts that door and he's like, I'm 76 years old, and he's like, I'm going to die.
The zoom in.
Yes.
Dude.
He's like, I'm going to die alone and poor. And he was like, and this might be my last chance to make a good impression. I love that. I love Mickey as a character, vicariously living through Rocky, how we see Rocky vicariously living through Creed later on. As like, or Adonis, Donnie. I was like, God, that's just so good. This whole scene is like, take notes, motherfucker. Like, God, this scene is so good.
Yeah. By the way, something that I really got to do more often is use my bathroom door as a dartboard. That's something I really got to do.
Yeah. And maybe it's just the adult in me, but I was just like, man, look at this apartment. You're not getting that deposit back.
It's like rampant destruction, dude.
Yeah. Well, I love Mickey shutting the door and, forgetting his hat, coming back. Yes. And Rocky walks right back. It's like, dude, that's such a good, after this brutal scene, it's like, it's very tense. And here's this little comedic ping. I was like, oh, that's good. Right. I love that, man. But then it's right back down to
what about my prime? Oh, nobody's giving me nothing. So he's fucking punching the door, man. And Mickey's just walking off. And oh, man, I tear up. I'm sorry, I just do. I tear up every time.
Mickey going down the steps is like,
the lone shot of him going down the stairs, but like more than that, dude. Like him walking down the street and like just Rocky chasing him, and then it's no dialogue, but it's an apology. It's an I'm sorry that I said that happened. Let's just do this. Let's do this. It's the handshake, and then it's the hug, and it's gorgeous, man. It's so perfect. It's a perfect moment in this movie, and I can't praise this.
Yeah,
I love this scene.
Yeah, this is so good because also Rocky has been kind of a quiet character as well. Like he talks a lot, like he does talk, but it's never anything of substance, and it's never loud.
It's never anger.
Yes, and this is angry. This is substantial, and this is loud, and I love all of it. This is the volcano. He's like, yeah, I'll fight the fight. You want to fight the fight? I'll fight the fight. Get my fucking face kicked in or whatever he says. It's like, he's scared. He's going like, dude, I am not prepared to fight this guy. There's a good chance, I might not get up from this. It's like, God, that's so brutally like realistic. But like you said, no dialogue. I feel like it would be rare for a movie to do that these days. That's why I mean, like watching this.
Yeah, absolutely.
It feels Rocky IV would have him going out there and be like, oh, I'm sorry, man. And it's like, okay, cool. But this is
different angles and shit.
And they're so far down the street. It's like, God, it's like a painting, dude. It looks so good.
Yeah. The train's going by overhead. Can you imagine, dude? Rocky's running and fucking Mickey turns around and he sees this hulk of a guy just running towards him, and Mickey just takes off. And shoots him. He just fucking takes off, dude. He just hobbles away.
I love that. Mickey runs off and I don't know. He pulls like an ankle shoot, like a 6-shooter out, and just plugs Rocky like 4 times. It's like the Boys in the Hood ending of Rocky.
Oh shit, that's great.
And this is where we get our training. Have you ever tried to drink a raw egg? You ever tried this?
Never. I don't like eggs in general.
That's right.
Like
you
whether it's like scrambled or poached or I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna fuck with eggs. Sorry.
I tried it once when I was like 10 or 12. I mean, literally, dude. I can eat some gross shit. I don't really get grossed out by stuff. It was disgusting, and I literally got the egg halfway down my throat and and just no. It's one of the most disgusting. It's like somebody came and all of the cum is in one fat, cold load going down your throat. It's like,
dude, why put that in my fucking head, man?
I love saying stuff that's so descriptive. It makes people like, oh, dude, what the fuck? I'm like, yes, my writing chops are good. This is great though. I like this. This is a quaint montage compared to what the franchise turns into later on, and what 80s montages would do in general. I love all the downtown shots, that green light on everything. That looks so fucking good. But a lot of this, the hilarious part is like, you get this walk, and this is where he kind of half-assed limps up to the top of the stairs. And the next one, he does like the full run and everything's great, later on in the movie. They shot him about an hour apart. And I was like, oh, that's genius. They're like, hey, let the sun come up for about an hour. Everybody go to break and we'll come back and shoot the second one. I was like, that's so smart to just save time and save money and stuff. But I like that it's not a full montage. Like, hey, let's get the triumphant music. Let's show all of this stuff. It's like, no, let's just show the realities of training and getting up. Right. It's fucking freezing at 4:00 in the morning.
The sound of him like breathing and heaving as he comes down the stairs, dude. Ugh, love that. That was me this morning. Just getting out of bed.
Yeah, same here. We go to visit Paulie and the butcher shop. I actually worked in meat departments for a long, not like this. I never saw swinging beef, but I used to cut pork chops and grind beef and stuff like that. So it's very similar to this. I used to have to wear one of those big ass white coats and stuff. I look like a murderer because I'm a little under 6'4", and I've got these giant rubber boots on, and I'm covered in blood, and I've got like blue jeans and this huge beard grown out. I used to fucking scare kids.
You were those guys. You were those guys in the supermarket in Hot Fuzz.
Yes, basically. I was like the old man in Home Alone that keeps scaring kids. They just didn't know me any better. Man, just Paulie, so crass. By the way, you bowling my sister?
Oh, I was gonna say who? What?
Paulie, he's so crass. Talking about his own sister. You balling my sister? It's like, what the fuck, man?
He just goes so overboard, dude. He's like, what position you do it in?
Right? Yeah, exactly. you putting your meat down my sister's throat.
Right. Rocky taught me how to beat my meat.
I always wonder what that would feel like, punching that slab of beef, like, because there's ribs, there's meat, like it's got to be pretty comparable. Yeah. I feel like.
Yeah, I kind of wanted it too. And then I got really hungry all of a sudden.
Oh, yeah. That steak looks great. Whatever he's cutting up. I don't eat meat anymore, but that steak, watching him cut that off, I was like...
Pause. What?
We talked about this in we talked about this off the air. Because it's like, yeah, we haven't really been eating meat lately and stuff.
You're such a fucking soy boy, beta cuck boy, motherfucker.
I got a slab.
Vegan,
no, I'm not a vegan.
Fucking rights for all bullshit, leftist motherfucker.
Let me tell you about it.
Get rid of the guns. Yeah. All that bullshit.
Yeah. No, we, honestly, the only meat I ever ate was chicken. I never ate red meat. I never ate pork. I hate pork. It's so much sodium. Sodium. It's just, it just made me thirsty. The only thing I miss is chicken and occasional a burger. I thought about it once a year. I'll go and eat a burger somewhere. It's like, nah, I think that it's my favorite place in the world to eat. It makes an amazing burger. But he fucking looks like he just beat one of those things to death. His like hands are covered in the blood. He's like walking out with this package, and it's like, dude, you have to walk home. Well, like someone's gonna call the cops. And they're like, yeah, there's a guy walking down the street who looks like he's breaking into houses with a stocking cap on, and his hands are covered in blood. And the cops are like, oh,
there's a deleted scene of him just wrestling a live cofted to the ground.
Yeah, it's like the cops are like, oh, is he white? They're like, yeah. He's like, he's fine. Leave him alone. Does he look Italian?
Meanwhile, it's Apollo Creed. He's fucking dead. Mm-hmm. Dead before he hits the ground.
Apollo Creed shot dead buying a stick of gum today. I like this a lot. They come home. Adrian kind of, she tries to start a little something. He's like, no, it's bad for the knees. Can't do it. I love when
I've been there.
Yeah. Well, I love the scene where Rocky comes home and she's got butkus and she's got that red jacket on. It's like, dude, that is like, good God. If I came home and she looked like that, I'd be like, get in that house because I'm going to fuck your brains out. Good Lord. She looks dino. I was like, holy hell. That is miles away from the person we saw at the beginning of this movie.
Yeah.
And all it is a hat and a sweater and a pair of glasses. That's all it is. It shows you how much she does physically outside of those props. It's like Jared Leto, take notes. Like she doesn't have to be in like fucking like 9 fucking miles of prosthetic to
Jared Leto. You don't need to fucking tattoo the word damage to your forehead. Okay, get fucked.
I saw clips of him from House of Gucci, and I was just like, yeah. Like Mark, I think I can't remember. I think Mark Kermode. He's a British film critic that I like.
Yes,
and Mark Kermode was like, I would love if Jared Leto started acting in the movie with the people he's acting with. He was like, I wish he would stop. It's like, okay, cool. We get it. You like doing these quirky things, but like start acting with the people in the movie. It's like, oh shit, that's pretty accurate actually.
I heard he sticks out a little bit in that movie. That's not out here yet. I want to check it out when it comes out because I mean, it just looks okay. It looks pretty good actually.
Lady Gaga is apparently really good.
I love Adam. I will watch anything that Adam Driver's in. But like, more to the point, fucking Ridley Scott making 2 movies this year.
Yeah.
And The Last Duel was incredible. I loved The Last Duel. Like, it was so fucking good.
With Adam Driver as well. I'll check that out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, she comes home. She's got Butkus, Stallone's real life dog. Had to sell him. The guy, I think, I don't want to say a figure and be wrong, but I want to say it was like $15,000. I'm probably wrong. But he sold this dog, and when he came back after the script sold for Rocky and stuff, he was like, hey, I want to buy the dog back. And the guy kind of knew, I guess, that Stallone had come into some money, so he fucking gouged him really bad. And it's like, you asshole. Like, what a fucking piece of shit.
Wouldn't you, though? Wouldn't you?
I'd be like,
he's this fucking giant celebrity. His movie grosses the equivalent of $1 billion. Yeah, okay, I'll gouge him too. Fuck off.
well, no, because the movie's not even
dude,
out
I don't
yet.
have a fucking high horse.
I couldn't separate, dude. Somebody who wanted their dog back that bad, I'd be like, can I get some shit I can sell? Like, do you have like some posters you can sign for me? And we'll call it even. Like, but that's so fucked up. I won't even eat an animal, let alone keep one from someone who wants it that. But yeah, it's like, come on.
Okay, look, keep your money, but for your next movie that you direct, can you somehow work Zainab Ali digital photography in there? Can you somehow fucking work that in there?
I'd be like, hey, listen, you do me a favor, I do you a favor. There you go. That works. Opportunistic. I can get behind being opportunistic, like but not like, hey, give me $15,000 for this thing you love. $15,000, by the way, in 1976 is like, I don't know, $85 million today.
Can buy you a fucking submarine.
Yeah. It's like the worth of Jeff Bezos in 76. It's like $15,000. Come on, Jeffrey, you can do it.
Oh, shit.
Paulie calls the press to see Rocky Train hitting the beef. I like this. Iconic as fuck. I love Duke. Duke watching it and being like, hey, you need to come check this guy out. And
check this guy out. He's legit. He's taking this seriously. Because
Apollo's in Rocky 3 mode, you know?
Yes. That's what I love, because like Apollo to Apollo, this guy's a fucking fly at a barbecue. Yeah. Like, right. he's not concerned about him at any point.
He literally says at one point, hey, we need Duke's like, we need to train. He's like, why? I'm going to drop him in 3. It's not a big deal.
Right. And it's all hubris. And like, like right up until his entrance, he's got this big, grand, flashy George Washington moment. Same thing that happens in Rocky 4, right? Like this big, like, because Drago doesn't come out with this from memory. He doesn't come out with this big flashy entrance.
The hell he did? Yeah, he does.
Apollo.
No, not in the U.S. When they're in Russia, they literally drop his, and they're like, no, like,
right. Yeah. But yeah.
No, you're exactly right. Like it's this. To Apollo, this is just a marketing gig. This would just be like him trying to make a viral video almost. Like, I'm just going to drop this guy in like 3 rounds. But he's underestimating his opponent. And literally, it doesn't even seem like he's ever even laid eyes on Rocky. And, I like the fact that it's Duke, who's kind of like the Mickey of Apollo's camp. And he's the one being like, hey, no, you need to come take a look at this guy. And he's like, yeah, I'll get to it. And he's like, oh, send the mayor's wife 200 roses or whatever. And I was like, dude, this guy's like politicking and stuff. And he's not really, he's not trained. He's not taking it seriously. I like this. He's kind of reaping what you sow. Do you reckon if Apollo was like, hey, I'm gonna hit the gym every day and fucking tear this guy's head off? Like, I think he probably beats Rocky, but I think Rocky, he just underestimated him. Is
that not what he does in the second one? Doesn't he go a bit harder in the second one?
He goes very hard in the second one. Carl Weathers is scary in Rocky too. Like, it's like, Jesus Christ, dude, this guy can chop down trees.
Yeah. That's not a man, dude. That's a fucking machine.
Yes.
Yeah.
God, Paulie comes home drunk, and they're kind of talking shit about him. I don't want you messing with that. Get out of my house. Like Burt, I like Burt Young's drunk actor choices. I love the way he plays a drunk. Like, that is I had to, not personally, like, I never had anybody in my family that was that bad, but you had some people that drank too much. You had to walk on eggshells around. And I was like, holy shit, this guy is a much more amplified version of that, but he kills it, man. Like, is that alcoholic dude.
Do we want to talk about Paulie versus Rocky a little bit? Because Paulie, quite a bit throughout this entire franchise, wants the handout. Like, he really wants like, put in a good word for Gaza. Like, and Rocky's like, I'm telling you, he's not hiring. Like, he's constantly leaning on other people's accomplishments to better himself. And Rocky, like, I love there's this whole kind of jealousy thing going on. Like, like Rocky is given that one in a lifetime opportunity by Apollo to have the opportunity to go toe to toe with the biggest, like, the champion, right? And I actually, we talk about how much I don't like Paulie, and I don't like Paulie because he's a, like he's not supposed to, he's not, I don't think he's supposed to be a sympathetic character most of the time, but I do like the whole, fuck man, Rocky, you got your shot, so where the fuck is mine? Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like I like that whole element of it. Like, I really dig that. Like, fuck, like, because, I this is going to sound so fucking douchey, but like, I see people in my fucking industry, in the legal industry, get their shot all the time. And they don't take themselves too seriously. They don't take the industry too seriously. And they don't work hard. I don't think they work particularly hard, but they get their shot at it because they get lucky. Like literally when we see Duke and Apollo pick out the Italian Stallion's name, it's because he's called the Italian Stallion, and it's still literally out of a fucking book. Like, oh yeah, it's you just got lucky because of the name. Like, right, you know what I mean? It's very, very superficial. Like, there's no look at his stats. Like, you know what I mean? It's not look at how much, like, how hard he worked to get here. It's very superficial. It's just the name. And like, I kind of feel for Paulie in this moment. I kind of feel for Paulie being like, man, like, what do I need to do to get my shot, kind of thing. And I really appreciate that whole element of this movie.
Yeah, he's definitely one of those family members that's, as soon as you hit the lottery, they've got their hand wide open, and even, in Rocky 2, he does end up taking the job over. He's the leg breaker when Rocky comes back. And in Rocky 3, he's got that watch, and they have that fight in the parking garage. Like, holy shit.
Rocky 4, he's got the robot.
Yeah, Rocky, super weird. But and then he, like, to your point, he, again, loses all of their money in the fifth movie. It's like, what an asshole. So I love this fight between them. You make me feel like a loser. I'm not a loser. That's so good. So necessary for her character. I would be very disappointed if we never had this moment in the movie.
What do I owe you, Paulie? What do I owe you?
So good. It feels like a scene out of a very good play. Like this definitely feels like a play. She ends up moving in with Rocky. We see Rocky, Paulie kind of combing things over. He's like, hey, you got a way to make money off of my name, go for it. And what's great is later on, he's like, I get the rope, and Paulie makes $3,000. $3,000 is $178 million in 2021 money. It's a lot of stuff.
Sweet Jesus.
Yeah. No, I'm waiting for someone I want someone to be listening and just be like, wait, what? It's not really 178 million. Good God. But this is where we really start to get like our montage. Him running, the people running through it's like the fruit stand district. I don't know what the hell that is.
Very, very famously improvised. Well, not improvised, but not announced.
No, yeah, they would just jump out of a van and start filming. And he was like, and people started throwing like oranges at me. And apparently the one-armed and clap push-ups were something that he had never done. And they were just needed more footage. And he was like, I'd never done them before. And I was like, good God, dude, you owned it, though. I mean, you did a great job.
So fucking professional at it, too. It makes it look so easy.
Mm-hmm. We end on this really iconic scene of him, kind of doing the same, running up the same steps, doing this. This is all backwards. If you watch the scene and as the camera zooms in on him at the top of the steps, it was a zoom out. And Avildsen was like, I really want to zoom in. And they're like, well, you could technically just kind of speed it up a little bit or rewind it. And they were like, oh, shit, that actually works.
I just love the continuous shot of him just running alongside the cranes. Yeah. Like, it's a really long shot. But it's awesome. He
said by the end of these scenes, he's like, I was exhausted. Like, I had shin splints. I was going to throw up. Like, I was getting so sick. I like this scene a lot of him going to the Spectrum and him being like, hey, the shorts are the wrong color. And like, that doesn't really matter now. Apparently that was like a real mistake. Like they were not supposed to be. So he just threw it in as a line of dialogue to like do something funny. Yeah. The scene is cool. I like him going down and checking it out. But when he comes back home and he's like, kind of faces his fear of like, I don't know if I can beat this guy. I don't know if I can beat him, but if I can at least go the distance with him, if I can at least say, hey, I left the blood out there on the floor, like I put everything in there. This is a one shot, one take. Didn't get twice to do it because the people who own the apartment were like, "Hurry up and get the fuck out!" Like, we gotta.
They're on the other side of the door, just being like, "Fucking
hey." Actually, that's kind of what happened. They were like, the people showed up, like, "Hey, get the fuck out!" And they still had all their equipment, and they were like, "Can we do this real quick?" And they were like, "Yeah, go ahead." And they were like, literally, the people are outside just like tapping their feet. And like, that is incredible. And Stallone just like, doesn't really matter if this guy opens my head up either. It's like, good God, the shit.
Yeah, props to Stallone for turning in. I mean, like, also another great dramatic moment in this movie, like this zoom in and like very important conversation. Props to Stallone for delivering that under such, like heavy, time pressured,
Yeah. One shot, that whole zoom in. It's like, good. That bell rings and I'm still standing. Like, I'll know, I'm going to know for the first time in my life. Like, God, that's so great. And we get the fight. There's really not a lot to talk about here except for him coming out of George Washington. They take the thing off. He's Uncle Sam. It's like, oh, this is great. Jesus. It just shows again.
I love that
No, go for it.
I love that the commentators need to tell you who Uncle Sam is.
Yeah, I love that. It's like, good Lord, dude. So apparently a lot of this stuff, where they show all these extras and stuff like that, they said at one point, because they reshot the ending of this movie, and the original ending was just Rocky and Adrian walking off into anonymity. They were like not in the ring when all of this ended and stuff. So they got back as many extras as they could. It was like 40 people. And the end of this movie, it's just this tight corner, where it's like they're talking Rocky. There's nobody around them.
Nobody. Like it's very, very clear that that's like stock footage, right? Like,
right. Yeah, there's stock footage. The whole audience is like dark the whole time. All the lights are off.
Yeah.
I love Joe Frazier, hell of a fighter. Good God, dude, that guy's left. I think it was
what
left.
A great get. Through.
Yeah, I know, right? That's pretty incredible. And
also this fight, as much as I love it, it's so dated. It feels like the Darth Vader Obi-Wan fight in New Hope.
Yes,
because they are absolutely not swinging anywhere near each other's faces.
No,
it's so.
I'll tell you straight up, it's better than Rocky 3. It's like the Rocky 3 fight is great at certain points, but it becomes laughably like they're like it is laughably
right.
bad.
Against like Clubber Lang at the end. Yeah, it's very.
It's maybe not like the Dark Knight Rises extras in the background bad. Like Christian Bale and Tom Hardy are doing shit. They're like, I love, but the guys in the background are like, nah. It's like
that's my least favorite Nolan movie. I just feel like. Yeah, the level of detail wasn't up to his standards there, but yeah. Anyway, this is
Rocky. Yeah,
ultimately, I love in all of the movies. The third one, included the last fight. I think they always nail their last fights. To be honest, I mean, in terms of what they're going for, in terms of impact, the drama, the level of excitement, the music's always top notch, dude. Creed. And Creed 2 nail these last two fights. I talked shit about Creed 2 earlier, but the actual fight with Drago's son at the end is fucking solid. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Rocky with this fucking punch, I don't know. That is still very effective. The way that they shoot it, Carl Weathers is, just all of that is great. And when they cut to in the ring and he gets back up, and all of a sudden you see Apollo's face is like, all right, dude. Let's do this. And it's like, oh no, like you've woken something up that's like you had the element of surprise, and that is over now.
And we haven't sung enough praise about Bill Conti's score. Not only just how iconic it is, but just in terms of like matching it up with the moments in the movie. So like this particular like fight. You've got the as soon as it crescendos, like something happens, someone gets knocked out, and like it's just it's like perfect editing as well. It's awesome.
Yeah, there's some very tight moments in this, and the fight just feels like it flies by. Like at one point, like you're looking at the round cards, like round 7, like what the fuck? Like
when do we get it?
Yeah, that went by pretty quick. I think that it's the body shots that Rocky, that's like, I love because we can kind of skip to this last round. And I don't want to go past Apollo breaking his nose either. He's like, I can't believe it. And he's like, what? He's like, he broke my nose. And then in Rocky 2, he does the same thing. He walks over and he goes, I can't believe it. And he's like, what? He's like, he broke my nose again. I was like, that's so good.
Also, I wonder how much baby oil was on hand.
Oh, Jesus Christ, man. Scene. Good Lord.
Because, I mean, it's intense. But also, when Rocky gets his eye cut by the cut man, he is very clearly putting tomato sauce on him, dude. Like, it's...
Oh, it like squirts out of his hand. Yeah.
Dude, I rewinded it, and I watched it, and I'm like, I know in 1976, they had no idea that people could, like, look at it in high definition or even, like, rewind it as much as we are. But it is so clearly a sauce packet.
Yeah,
that comes out of his hand.
I watched what it is. It's like it is an actual like razor, but they have this little. It's like a little sack, and when the dude ran it across, he would just squeeze that, and it would come out underneath his thumb. So they were trying to make it look like it was coming. It's still pretty effective because I didn't know that. Bless you, I didn't know that for years. That was something. Yeah, I never caught that. But I love the fact that this has consequences. This will be a problem in Rocky 2 because that's the eye they cut. And he's like, dude, you don't want to cut your eye. And he's like, no, go ahead, cut me. Like, do it. But I love the shots when he's hitting Apollo or Rocky gets hit and the water flying off their head. It's like, that looks good, dude. Visually, that still holds up really well. Like the tighter shots of them fighting look great. It's when you start kind of getting out a little bit that it's like, okay, this is not good. And I love Duke. Duke's like, I'm stopping this fight. This dude is breaking you up. And he's like, no, you're not stopping nothing. And I love it's just those body shots that are wrecking him. It's like, dude, you're breaking. You literally, it doesn't matter how many times you get punched in the face. You're internally bleeding by the end of this. He's like spitting up blood and shit. It's like, oh man, this is bad.
Dude, the human body. Like contact sports like this, like really kind of like make me think, man, the human body was not designed for this kind of torture.
No,
like, you know what I mean? It's just crazy.
Like, and the funny thing was, if you want to watch like one of the best fights I've ever seen is Mickey Ward versus Arturo Gatti. It was one of the, I think ESPN called it round of the century, but it was like their 8th round for the belt. And at one point, it's just amazing. You've got to watch it because it is one of the best, because boxing can be kind of silly and bullshit sometimes. It's like, dude, come on, like throw some punches, get hit. This one is like they won't stop just standing in the ring punching each other in the face. It's like, holy hell, man. But the fight ends. They go the distance. I love the ain't gonna be no rematch. Don't want one. That's it.
I love it. I love it, man. It's awesome.
I love the little redemptive moment of Paulie pulling up the ring for his sister. I'm like, that's nice. That's like the nicest thing he does in the whole movie. Like, at least you end on Paulie doing something. Adrian, where's your hat? I don't know why Stallone weirdly specifically wanted that. And they put fishing string on her hat and pulled her hat off. I was like, who cares? Like, why? Why was that the thing that needed to happen? And he was like, I don't know. There's just something about Rocky being concerned with her not having her hat. Like he looks like a fucking tomato. And he's like, where's your hat? She comes in. She says, I love you. I love you too. Ba, 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 boom, 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 boom. I
love it, dude. There's no fucking around. It's just the movie's over. It's done. I mean, and it's not even like, Rocky's not concerned about who won. He wants Adrian. Like, he just wants the person that pushed him and got him to this point, and he went the distance, and he's happy with that.
Right.
And Apollo does this big, cheer when it's announced that he won, and and the last lines are, I love you. And it's like, who really won here, And it's, it's cheesy now, now that I say this, but it's it's fucking Rocky, dude. It's fucking Rocky.
Yeah. And that's it. That's Rocky, man. Now we've got this poll. Do you want to do the poll first and then do listener comments and then do final thoughts?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Word. I've got it pulled up here. So if you guys ever want to be a part of this, you can go to Facebook. It's a group called the After Party. You can also find our page there if you want to be connected to that. But we put a poll up just kind of asking like, hey, where do you guys stand on the Rocky series? Because we've never really talked about these before. This is a landslide. We put everything up from this Rocky 1976 all the way to, is it 2006 when Rocky Balboa comes out? I think it's 06 or 07.
I believe so.
I don't know. But we put all 6 of those up. All of them at least got 1 vote. But Rocky 4 won.
Steph voted for all of them.
Steph, that's nice. Rocky 4 won by 9. The closest next one is this one, Rocky, with 3 votes. And then my favorite, Rocky 2, comes in 3rd place. I was like, okay, well, that's not terrible. I feel like everybody remembers the 4th one just because it's so. I mean, Dolph Lundgren is like
it's big.
Yes,
it's a big movie.
He's like
in
Darth
terms
Vader,
of just Yeah, but like it's excess, right? Like there's a lot of montages, lots of and it's very much of the whole era of like the US versus the Russians, and it's very much more of a 4th of July movie kind of thing. Like it's there's a lot in 4 that ended up being part of the zeitgeist. Like everyone just talks about. I'm gonna make a confession. I don't love 4.
I mean, as far as story and stuff goes, like it's somewhat interesting, but the Rocky series gets old because it's like Rocky 3, let's kill Mickey. Rocky 4, let's kill Apollo. Rocky 5 was supposed to end with Rocky dying. Rocky Balboa, let's kill off Adrian. Creed, let's kill off Paulie. It's like, dude, you kill somebody off every fucking movie. Like, good God, man. Like, relax. Like, stop killing people in these fucking things. But I think Apollo dying is such a, because he is a lot of the spirit of this. Like he's a very savory, kind of colorful character in this world.
Okay, that's
no,
very
shut
racist.
the fuck up. He's got flair, when a lot of these people don't. And I like that a lot. So I think his death is definitely like a huge catalyst in that one. But I think a big one is that there's no easy way out. Boom, doom, doom, doom. There's no shortcut home. It's like him driving in a Lambo, like having memory montages with Apollo. It's like, yeah, I can't relate to that. Like driving in a Lambo at 2 a.m., you asshole.
Yeah. How about we get some comments going, huh?
Yeah, let's do it. You want to do Jose? Because we already tackled Patrick's. I guess we can just do Jose's and get out of here.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for Jose and Patrick, even though Patrick was wrong. Jose comments. Jose comments. I grew up with Rocky 4. That was my introduction to Rocky and my favorite of the series. I knew of the first one through clips and the occasional scene I'd catch during a marathon. I got the box set for Christmas a few years ago and wanted to really dive into that first one. Quick aside, Jose, I think we have the same box set because I bought that box set when Creed came out. So yeah, that's when I mean, they're all downstairs. I love it. And Jose says, I loved it. Yeah, I knew what happens thanks to cultural osmosis, but I put what I knew and the sequels out of my head to let the first film stand alone. I try to imagine a young and hungry Stallone working tirelessly on the screenplay and what he went through to get it made, and it gives me even more respect for him. Also, while Rocky 4 is peak Adrian hotness, I can see why Rocky was attracted to Adrian in the pet store. If all I knew of Talia Shire was The Godfather, I never would have known this was her. Yeah, I think that's a solid point, man. And also, you got to realize that like when Rocky walks into that pet store, it probably smells like shit, and he still falls in love with her. So there you go.
Right. Yeah. 100%. Final thoughts. I mean, I really enjoy this movie. I probably had more fun talking about it than I did watching it. Honestly, just in terms of like laugh value, I really can't wait till we cover the second one because that movie's got so much interesting stuff. It raises the stakes. It takes characters in different directions. It keeps the similar tone of the first one. But then with the third one is when you start getting into that, like, okay, now he's shredded like a fucking, like good God, whatever it is, he's shredded like a bag of cheese. And then not only that, you have Hulk Hogan fight, you have Clubber Lang fight, and then you have another Clubber. You have 3 fights.
The Hulk Hogan fight is just fucking comedic, man. Dude, it's so fucking funny.
I do love Burt Young exploding a chair on his back. Dude, if you watch that fight, it is like somebody shot that goddamn chair with a shotgun. But final thoughts. I really enjoy this movie. I love this franchise. In Rocky 3, they say it really well. It's like Rocky Balboa is a tribute to the like indomitable spirit of man. And it's like, yes, I think that's the best way to describe this franchise and the real life parallels that were going on with Sylvester Stallone at the time. I think that once you know what the backstory is to this, the movie's great on its own, but when you know the backstory, it's like, dude, this is so special. This is so of its time. This is so, I mean, it made so many people's careers. It saved so many people's lives when it comes to this stuff. It's like, Jesus. And I don't say that a lot, but I mean, this movie saved his life probably, you know, like God knows where Sylvester Stallone would be if he just sold the script or if he'd have, you know, just fucked off somewhere. Like I don't know. There's no telling. So I'm so thankful that he stuck to his guns. He got no writer's fee either. They're like, no, we'll just pay you for acting. Like, if we're going to pay you, we're just only going to pay you for acting. That's it. Which is like, that's illegal. You can't do that anymore. Like, I think you have to at least pay him like $80,000 or something. I don't know. What are your final thoughts?
Well, I mean, like, there are only a few movies out there that you can actually genuinely call timeless. And there are parts of this that have aged. We brought them up earlier. In particular, the Stallone Talia Shire scenes when, like, early on, I don't know particularly how I feel about those. I'm a little
conflicted. I'm
a little conflicted. But I mean, this is, I don't know what my top 30 looks like, but it's somewhere in there. I think this is my all-time favorite Rocky movie. Like, you know, like there is no, it's something about how minimal it is. It's something about how minimalistic it is that I really enjoy. Like, it's not this big Rocky IV, you know, we're taking this in excess and, you know, just enjoying it. It's something about how like, as Jose said, just how hard Stallone worked to get this made. And the fact that it actually exists is a goddamn miracle. You know, like, it's something about how earnest Stallone is in this movie, and how Rocky as a character, you know, like he is this kind of person who is probably on the spectrum, and like he doesn't love awkward silences, so he just talks right through them, you know. And the guy actually has a heart of gold, and, you know, he's got ambition as well. He just wants to go the distance. He doesn't want to win. He doesn't want too much. He doesn't want to, you know, bite off more than he can chew. He just wants to go the distance, and there's something that I really appreciate in that.
Right.
And then, you know, you have Talia Shire as Adrian, and Adrian is fascinating to me because I don't know what happened to her in her backstory, but she got this way somehow. And it takes this guy, this big hulking idiot of a man, to make her come out of a shell. And I think she plays it so well. She's this like frumpy, quiet, shy individual who is under her brother's thumb, and it's perfect. I like, if the relationship with these two don't work, then the movie doesn't work. And I think ultimately, after all the weird, you know, harassment stuff, it does work. And the movie really kind of like finds its place. And I think the fact that, you know, it's very much still in the conversation after 45 years of it being made.
Yeah.
Like, that's, you know, what else can you say?
Yeah. The fact that there's like, it's still being talked about, and there's like 2 or 3 generations of families born in that time, is like, Jesus, that's crazy, man.
Also, Michael B. Jordan is directing the next Creed, which I'm really excited to see. I want to see how that happens.
Good for him. I love Michael B. Jordan.
Same.
Guys, we hope you enjoyed this episode. Again, stop and rate and review us on iTunes. Check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/Midnight Double Feature. I've been Colin. That has been Zoheb. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Bye.